Welcome to Female Fractionals, the biweekly podcast for successful female fractional executives and those ready to take the leap. In each episode, I'll bring you actionable lessons and inspiration through interviews with thriving fractional leaders and experts. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Female Fractionals. I'm your host, Amanda Nazari. I'm really excited about this week's conversation. Today, I'm talking to Beth Wanner. She is the founder and CEO of Mother Cover, an agency offering interim and fractional CMO coverage for parental and other forms of leave. After a very long and rocky road to parenthood while building a high-demand, high-stress career as a marketing executive in the tech space, Beth experienced firsthand the challenges individuals, particularly women, face in their careers when taking leave to care for their families. Because of this, Beth founded Mother Cover to give individuals the ability to comfortably pause work when they need to, while providing companies with experienced support until that team member returns. In addition to her role at Mother Cover, Beth also serves as a fractional CMO, leveraging her experience across demand gen, product marketing, and brand strategy to help companies achieve their growth targets while coaching the next generation of leaders to hit their goals without burning themselves out or compromising their values. Learn more about Beth and the services that Mother Cover provides at mothercoveragency.com. This conversation today was really enlightening and will be a great discussion for those of you who listen and are thinking about taking the jump to either fractional or building an entrepreneurial business. Without further ado, let's jump in. Hi, Beth. Welcome to Female Fractionals. It's great to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Well, everyone, I wanted to share a little bit about how Beth and I met. So Beth and I met virtually. She shared a very, very powerful story on LinkedIn that she is going to share today. But after I read the story on LinkedIn, I immediately reacted to it. I felt a very personal connection to it, as I feel like many others probably did. So I sent Beth a note over LinkedIn and just told her how much I liked it. And then I saw that Beth was actually in another CMO networking group that I was in, and I reached out to her in that group as well. And then I kind of felt like I was being a little stalkerish. So and now she's on my podcast. So I feel like we've come full circle, but I'm really excited to have you on. I feel like what you are building with Mother Cover is amazing. And I'm really excited for you to share the story of what you are doing and what you're building with Mother Cover. And you kind of cover both sides of what I'm trying to do with Female Fractionals, and that you are an entrepreneur and that you're building a business and you're also a fractional CMO. So we're going to get a lot of lessons learned from you on the podcast today. So if you don't mind, if you could share a bit of your story and the story that resonated so much with me and many others, about why you started Mother Cover and what kind of brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Well, first, thanks for connecting with me. That's been the best part of starting Mother Cover, is just getting to talk to so many other amazing women and have conversations that I probably wouldn't have had if I'd continued down my regular path. But yeah, to give you kind of the Coles notes of what feels like a very long story now, is that I've been in marketing in executive positions for about the last 15 years, primarily in the tech space. And as my career had progressed, I'd always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to start a family. My husband and I have been married for 10 years this year. But it was kind of that, like I said, in the back of my mind, that how does starting a family impact a highly demanding career? And in the tech world, how does taking any time away, things change so quickly, how is that going to play out, even in the most supportive environment? So that was kind of the first step, figuring out when is the right time, realizing there is no right time. So finally being like, okay, let's go for it. Let's just start our family, and we'll figure it out as we go. Unfortunately, it wasn't straightforward. I went through infertility, eventually IVF, navigating that whole world while I continued to grow my career. I had changed companies, all that time in the back my head thinking too, like, how do you balance this now that you're somewhere new? Eventually got the happy news that I one of my embryo transfers was successful and I was finally pregnant. I found that out on a Sunday. On a Tuesday, I got a layoff notice.
Yeah.
And I thought, what has happened with the world that I worked so hard to keep this private because I was worried about what was going to happen to my career, and the worst happened anyway. So lost my job. Immediately started looking for a new job because I was right at the beginning of my pregnancy. So again,
Right.
who knows what's going to happen? But also that I couldn't take that long of a break in my career. So went on the job hunt for another VP of marketing job. Ended up getting an offer, signed the offer, shared with them that I am pregnant, and the reaction was I was not expecting a congratulations, but I was not expecting the reaction that I did got, which was very negative. And then I flash forward, ended up getting terminated from that company at 8 months pregnant, right before my daughter was set to be born. So a lot of roller coasters, some that I anticipated, some that I definitely did not in the road to becoming a mother. But I ended up posting this story on LinkedIn about a year ago now, just over a year. And to my surprise, again, I heard from hundreds of women, whether it was a very similar story or just kind of that similar thread of the challenges of wanting to balance a career, wanting to maintain a career, and what happens when we do start families. And it's those connections and stories that really opened my eyes to this wasn't a one-off. This is happening all around us. And we're not talking about it because there's a lot of shame involved. Like I felt a lot of shame being fired at 8 months pregnant. I felt shame getting laid off. Um, so yeah, we don't talk about it. And there's legal reasons why we don't talk about it. If there's severance agreements, all those sort of things. But um, that inspired me to think of how do we change the system? How can we change the fear, whether it is unconscious or conscious, around employees taking time away? Because being on the other side, being an executive, having people go on leave on my teams, if we're being honest, it is a logistical nightmare. They're not, maybe nightmare feels too far of a phrase, but there are challenges with it. We've got real goals that we need to meet. We've got projects that need to stay on track. So what I eventually came to with the idea for Mother Cover was how do we solve both sides? We're not going to see real change unless we solve both sides of supporting parents, women in particular, as they're going on leave and needing to care for families, but also address that companies need to keep their progress on track, and how do we do both? So that's where the idea for Mother Cover came from.
That's
That's my
amazing.
long-winded story.
No, that's great. If I'm getting this correctly, Mother Cover comes in and help people transition. Can you explain the value proposition of Mother Cover?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mother Cover is an agency that essentially marries individuals who are looking for fractional or contract type work with companies that have a leave to fill. So we can come in either on a full-time basis, or maybe you just need somebody at a fraction of the time, so 10, 20, 30 hours a week to keep critical projects on track. So we can come in, support the parent, or it actually doesn't have to be a parent. We do aim to support any type of leave, but that's kind of the primary mission of why we existed. But we can help create and support that transition program. So as you were talking about, like the parent going on leave puts a lot on themselves. Again, it's almost that overcompensation part of I don't want to burden my team at all. So I need to think of all the things that are going to make sure that nothing gets missed while I'm on leave. So we aim to kind of come in and create a little bit of a framework around that. So it helps them know here are the critical things that need to be filled. Here's what a good transition program looks like and plan looks like. Then they go on leave and we step into their role for them. We can do regular check-ins with them while they're on leave if they want. Sometimes that gives them kind of the arm's length from meeting, say, with their boss or their company while they're on leave, and that kind of pulls them in. We really want them to be able to take that time to focus on their family. But we also know that when they come back to work, it can feel like starting a new job again, depending on how long their leave was. So again, helping to mitigate that level of stress, and then doing a re-onboarding program. So whether that is a simple welcome back brief of here's the status of your projects, the goals, maybe any changes on your team or your company, and kind of walking them through that. Some, depending on the structure of their company and the sport that they have, can be a stage transition back to work. So maybe they want to come back 2 to 3 days a week, and we stay on part-time as well to help them ease back to work, so it's not going from 0 to 60 again. So like I said, we marry that contractor and fractional world to these leaves, but it's really tailored around. It's not just coming in and filling a role or a vacancy. It's really designed around supporting the person going on leave, but also the company, to make sure that there's that continuity and things don't get missed. They can feel like they can fully support their teammate going on leave, knowing that they don't have to sacrifice anything on the business side.
That's great. That's great. So, as an entrepreneur, how are you driving leads to the business? Do you have you developed a process that's working for you as you're a year in? Have you found something that's working for you to have like a steady revenue stream?
So launched at the end of last year, and it's really been through my own network and telling my story, and the way that that has had kind of a organic reach for people who have found me, either wanted to talk about being a leave partner, which is what we call those who step into to roles for us. I've been growing a roster, a database full of leave partners. And then on the flip side, having those connections has led to a lot of referrals for people saying that, hey, I know this person who's going on leave, or I know this company who has leaves to fill. So we've had kind of equal outreach from those going on leave themselves, and those from the company that are managing a leave. So it's been, like I said, just great organic growth so far. We are doing more kind of on the PR front to really extend the outreach beyond my own network, but that referral base has been the strongest for us so far.
Okay. That's great. And do you find that, I mean, there's obviously something very strong in the value proposition and the story. And I feel like there's definitely something in the community aspect of things. Do you find that there's communities that you're involved in where you're gaining traction? Do you feel the power of networking and community in what you're doing and where and how you're trying to grow the business?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so powerful. That's why I think telling our individual stories, whether it's my story or other women sharing kind of their stories and adding to it, it's that connection to kind of the bigger mission of what Mother Cover aims to do, of being able to protect our careers, to make us not feel guilt, stress around being able to take time to prioritize our families, because all of us, women, men, various stages of our lives, are all going to have things that we want to be able to put a pause on our careers that we're passionate about to focus on, but then come back, and companies that support that. But the communities that I found really helpful beyond kind of LinkedIn itself, I'm in the CMO Coffee Talk group. I'm in the Fractionals United. I'm in Women in Revenue, a bunch of different communities, and lots of them have either sub-communities for parents or for kind of workplace challenges, different things like that. And being able to connect to people that way, it's either people who have experienced that again directly and want to get the word out of, I didn't have a great experience, I want to help other people have a great experience. That's really been super powerful.
How do you find balance? I mean, growing a business is a lot of work. You're also a fractional executive on top of this. So, how are you finding balance in this entrepreneurial lifestyle?
For me, what I make sure it's not as much about balance these days as it is about boundaries. So I tell my clients and myself that when my daughter comes home from daycare around 4:30 to going to sleep at 7:30, that is her time. And I very rarely compromise that. I also try to not be on my phone. It does mean that sometimes I'm hopping back on and I'm working till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. But to me, that feels okay for now because of I'm paying attention to that energy and I know that it's at this greater purpose. That doesn't work for everybody. So that's where like I'm conscious about like giving advice of like, here's what balance looks like. But if I can say, set your boundaries, communicate your boundaries, and pay attention to your energy. And that's really the recipe for each of us to find to check ourselves of like, are we on the road to burnout or not? And can we create those boundaries for ourselves that kind of gives us a little bit of protection?
Yeah, I agree. I also like how you said that that's what's working for you right now. I think
Yes.
that's also key and also what's so fun and energizing about being out on your own, at least for me. It's I can at least choose what works for me right now. So I have kids that are at a different life stage than yours, and so I have to adjust my schedule, but I can, and that's what is working for me right now. And I'm the same. I actually don't mind logging back on at night because I'm able to be there in the morning for drop off, in
Yeah.
the afternoon to help them with their homework, and I'm doing the things that matter. Whereas back in my corporate role, my time was not my own.
Mhm.
And to me, I am also working harder than ever before, but I'm building something that's mine. And so I think when we all make the pro con list of like, what are the things I know I'm gonna, love and gain, and what are maybe the things that are the red flags? There's so many things on the green flag list for me that make it so worth it every day.
Yeah.
And throwing children in the mix, especially young ones, it's very important to make sure that we hold true to those boundaries. So that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's who I was just going to add to that I find wants to become a leave partner. So I've had others kind of on the outside question like, well, who wants to take on short-term contracts? Because depending on whether we cover contracts across Canada and the US, so they can be shorter leaves. So the question is, well, who wants to do that? And there isn't benefits involved when you're a contractor or a fractional. But I say like, I think there's a real shift particularly for women who want to take control, and that flexibility, that feeling of control is worth the trade-offs. And there's lots that want to say, like, I don't, the 9 to 5 isn't working for me, and I couldn't find flexible employment, so I'm going to take it into my own hands. And I think that motivation has been really um, underappreciated of how powerful that is for people right now.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I feel like I said it in the intro to the podcast, like why I'm even doing this is because women entrepreneurs are coming out of the woodwork. Like there is definitely something happening where everyone now knows someone in their circle that has left corporate to try to start something, right? I feel like that circle is just getting wider and bigger. And there's tons of studies out there that show that women and the businesses that we developed post COVID really drove the economy and the economic rebound that we saw and all experienced. And to me, that there's something there, right? And any role that we all are playing in that, I want to play like a small piece in that and connect all of us because I think that there's a reason for it. And I think to the discussion that we're having, we're able to talk more about what those reasons are and help support each other through that, whether that's covering for each other when we're going out in the moments that matter the most in our lives, or help each other through some of the issues that we face when we're winning our first project and maybe like not charging enough for the services that we know are of value because of some of the things that we experienced in our past lives, in the corporate environment or something. So I just feel like there's something there. And I think that's why your story resonated so much with me was I think that we both felt like we were on the precipice of something. Okay, one more question and then we'll jump into rapid fires. But what is your vision for Mother Cover in 5 years? That I feel like 5 years feels so long. Maybe let's do 3 years.
Well, yeah, in in a few years, I hope we've covered hundreds of leaves by then. And I hope that we're seeing more men. I hope we're seeing more parental or paternity leaves covered, because I think that's also what's going to really change the tipping scales for women to feel like they've got that choice in where they have their careers, is that we need our fathers to take a leave too, and have more companies support that, because there's also a whole different realm of stigma and things that prevent men from being able to take time with their families when they really want to as well. So being able to support the fathers. As I said, we also extend the mother cover to any type of leave. So as we're the sandwich generation, we have aging parents, being able to take time to care for our loved ones, mental health, medical leave, basically really wrapping our arms around. We say bring your whole selves to work. Well, this is really making sure that it's safe to do that, that you can take that time out for those important moments in your life, and your company and yourself will still be supported. Um, what else do I envision for that? I really want to create the kind of community around it, because as there's people who are transitioning back to work, we've all kind of gone through these life experiences. How do we lean on one another? Because it doesn't end once you get back to work. There's lots of things to navigate. So creating that community around it. And then I'd love to see a charitable component or a give back component of Mother Cover. Particularly for me, that would be potentially a legal fund to help women who have been discriminated against be able to fight it and keep their voice. Because that was very therapeutic for me. If I wasn't able to tell my story, this would have crushed me. So that's something that's really important for me, is as protecting women's voices.
That's amazing. I love that. It's a great vision. Lots of wonderful things to strive for. So if people
Lots
want
of things on my
to,
vision board there.
yeah, I love it. I love it. So if people want to get involved, learn more, where should they go?
I can connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can go directly to our website, which is mothercoveragency.com. And we've got a contact us form. So whether you're looking for a leave, whether you want to be a leave partner, fractional coverage, you can choose that from the drop down there.
Okay, perfect. I'll also post all of this on the website in the show notes as well. So, okay, so at the end of every episode, I like to ask some rapid fire questions. So these are meant to be answered in one word or one sentence or less. So, okay, what's the first job that taught you something valuable?
I worked at an ice cream store in the summer when I was maybe 15 or 16, and the owner of the store was a very grumpy man. And I think it was probably the first time that I discovered using my voice, as he was uh, not being very friendly to us as we were working. And I stood up and said, we're working our asses off here. And he immediately backed off. And yeah, I think that lesson of standing up to bullies and using my voice as a woman.
Love it. You started young.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Best investment you've made in yourself.
Oh, I think best investment that I made in myself was choosing my husband.
Oh, that's sweet. We'll
Yeah.
we'll have to make a clip of that one and send it to him.
Okay.
I'll ask the editor for a favor. Favorite way to celebrate a win.
Oh, a good bottle of wine.
Mentor you'd like to give a shout out to.
Scott McGilvery. He was my first mentor, my guide, and my friend now for 10 years.
If you could instantly master one skill or hobby, what would it be?
Knitting. I just think it'd be very relaxing, and I need to be off my phone more. So it occupies my hands.
Okay, this one I like because people pick it and then they try to do it. So you need to be on video. Go to the YouTube channel to watch this. But most used emoji in professional texts.
Oh, now I feel like I have to do it, but it's a muscle.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your story and the story of Mother Cover. I think it's amazing. So great that you help everyone out in these critical moments throughout life that most people, most women will end up encountering at some point. So I think what you're doing is incredible, and I cannot wait for all of the things on your vision board to come to life. So thank you again. And I'm sure we will connect soon as I continue stalking you on various social media forums.
It goes both ways. Thank you very much for the platform to be able to talk about Mother Cover and share my story.
Of course. Thanks again. As always, please remember to follow, like, comment, and share. And don't forget to head over to femalefractionals.com for a full transcript of the show and links to everything we talked about during our conversation. Thanks for listening.